Picture yourself opening your banking app tomorrow morning and, instead of that familiar tightness in your chest, feeling a calm curiosity because you already know what steps will make those numbers climb. Now push the vision further. Imagine realizing the key isn't clocking more hours, axing every latte, or memorizing market jargon, but tiny daily tweaks anyone can repeat. Provocative. That's exactly where we're headed. In the next 30 minutes, we'll dismantle 7 worn out money myths and install a fresh prosperity code that fuses behavioral science, applied quantum principles, and pocket-sized habits you can fit into any schedule. You'll see money as living energy, something that responds to how you breathe, invest minutes, and choose conversations. I'll share how a $5 cashback triggered a $500 contract the same day, why tithing just 1% of my income landed my biggest corporate client, and how a 60-second breathing ritual saved me from a guaranteed deal that later bankrupted veteran investors. These aren't outliers, they're demonstrations of principles you can test tomorrow without putting an extra dime at risk. If decades of belt-tightening budgets taught you safety lives in scarcity, stay with me. What if that very squeeze is why money slips away? Watch to the end and learn how the 10% courage rule, the color-coded flow map, and a 10-second micro-celebration can swap suffocating spreadsheets for a game of expansion. Even if you're in overdraft today. Quick challenge: choose abundance over excuses. Hit subscribe right now. It costs nothing, tells your subconscious you're serious, and locks in weekly drops with fresh case studies and 7-day experiments. Opportunities favor speed. Don't let this one scroll by. Buckle up, metaphorically, not financially. And let's kick off by busting myth number 1. Money only comes to those who grind harder. Spoiler: nope, and I'll prove it in the next 3 minutes. Money is traveling energy. Money looks like paper yet pulses like unseen current, rewarding delivered value. It reacts less to sweat and more to the signal you broadcast when your inner router is tuned. Opportunities ping like non-stop notifications. Mistuned, the same hours of work shrink into an anemic balance. Think Wi-Fi, everybody's within range, but only those with the right password surf freely. That password is coherence between what you offer, feel, and believe you deserve. Lacking it, even a raise drains away before month end. I learned this as a struggling freelancer blaming a saturated market. A mentor said, sell outcomes, not hours. I rewrote my portfolio to spotlight client results. 5 months later, same tools, same city, my income tripled. Nothing mystical happened. I simply broadcast a frequency of concrete solutions. When you flip on that lighthouse, ships reroute instinctively. Financial energy flows where space invites and shorts out where fear clamps down. Hoarding every dollar like a hostage causes emotional blackouts. Circulating cash intentionally amps voltage and lights new bulbs around you. Money stashed without mission turns stagnant like standing water, but when it enters, serves, and exits with purpose, it returns as widened rivers. The true game isn't stacking bills, it's orchestrating their journey. Test it now. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and ask, which skill of mine is the world willing to rent today? Don't judge the first answer, jot it. Naming that talent converts fuzzy potential into marketable opportunity. Clarity is GPS. Without an address, no map helps. Celebrate every inflow, even a few cents of cashback. Whisper flow activated. And hold a 2-second grin. Dopamine tags the event as must repeat. Your reticular system starts hunting proof of abundance instead of absence. Suddenly discounts, side gigs, or surprise refunds pop up like cheat codes. Remember, water stagnates, money depreciates. Reinvest portions into learning, better tools, or helping someone. Cash that circles with intention, boomerangs multiplied. It's not spending, it's fueling the very spring that feeds it. Rivers that run nourish cities. Puddles evaporate. Bottom line, money mirrors the energy you emit. Tune the signal before chasing notes. Next up, we'll puncture the myth of tight-fisted discipline that secretly drives funds away. Forcing equals financial friction. Clutching every cent feels prudent but blares a non-stop scarcity alarm. Adrenaline hijacks creativity while the universe cues events that validate the panic. I call this forcing, shoving cash flow by sheer will. Like a wet bar of soap, the harder you squeeze, the faster it shoots away. I learned the hard way after financing my first car and becoming a AM balance checker. That week, two tires blew, an unexpected fine landed, and my biggest client bailed. The real cost wasn't the monthly payment, it was the mental drain that choked focus. Once I ditched the vigil, slept, and pitched new projects, I signed 3 deals in 15 days. Releasing the grip isn't laziness. It lets solutions breathe. Picture wet sand in your palm, squeeze and grains leak through fissures. Relax and they nestle, feeling fuller. Money needs guidance, not a straitjacket, white-knuckled fists cut. Blood flow even to your own fingers. Loosen up. Steer the stream instead of damming it. Break the cycle with a 7-day balance detox. Open your banking app only after you've created value, sent a proposal, hosted insight, or scheduled a sales call. Redirect energy from policing to producing. By week's end, you'll record fewer logins, more leads, and way less angst, proof that vigilance drains while creation deposits. Add the 10% courage rule, skim 10% off unexpected income bonuses, cashbacks, and invest in skills, tools, or networking. It programs your subconscious that money is growth fuel, not panic tape. Repetitions compound like reps at the gym, voting daily for a stronger financial self. Fear of chaos might whisper that easing control invites disaster, but chaos lives in the clamp. Regulated breathing, proactive moves, and clear focus forge true order. Suddenly, ignored details and underserved niche, a dormant client light up under a calmer spotlight. Defense hysteria flips into strategic offense. That shift alone outperforms any penny-pinching spreadsheet. Conclusion. Forcing wears a suit of responsibility yet moonlights as sabotage. Swap anxious monitoring for value-creating action and watch the balance become a side effect, not an emotional trigger. The balance watcher effect. Every banking app is a reality microscope. Open it, and without realizing you decide whether numbers will swell or shrink. That verdict arises in your nervous system long before digits appear. Tap the balance with a clenched chest and you broadcast never enough, prompting circumstances to echo lack. Grin at a modest deposit and gratitude becomes a magnet for more. The phone screen is a quantum mirror reflecting and amplifying whatever you project. One Saturday I celebrated a $5 cashback like a year-end bonus, brewed fancy coffee, thanked the universe aloud, even tweeted it. 4 hours later a dormant prospect messaged, booking a $500 gig. Coincidence? Maybe, but the timeline was too neat to ignore. Every reaction collapses a reality. Prosperity lane or scarcity lane, neutrality doesn't exist. Emotion always votes. Train your observer with an abundance thermometer. 30 rows for 30 days, 2 columns inflow and dominant feeling. Log every incoming cent and note your emotion. Gratitude marks a plus, worry a minus. After a week, sum the feelings. You'll preview your month's financial vibe. Awareness precedes choice. The chart shows which channel you're tuned to. Next, practice the 10-second micro celebration. At any inflow, inhale, press your palm lightly to your chest, and think, I receive, I multiply, I share. Touch anchors the mantra and reroutes the default still not enough loop. After 21 days, the brain addicted to consistent narratives hunts micro opportunities, aligning with arrival, not absence. Worried celebrating sense breeds recklessness. Reality shows the opposite. Gratitude releases dopamine, boosting motivation and creativity, which spawn fresh revenue streams. The real danger lies in ignoring small gains, convincing yourself nothing good happens without progress cues. The limbic system grabs the steering wheel, turning every investment choice into a survival gamble dominated by negative feels. Don't bury them. Dread paying bills? Set an alarm to celebrate immediately after payment, retraining the mind to pair clearance with relief. Ashamed of low balance? Flip shame into curiosity. What can this snapshot teach me? Treat the statement as market research on you. Raw data, viewed neutrally, becomes a compass for tweaking offers, pricing, effort. Finally, whenever you open the app, ask, which timeline am I collapsing right now? If it's scarcity, breathe thrice and recall a moment money came easily. You swap the mental movie instantly, no need to wait for the next paycheck. The display stays the same, but the observer's frequency shifts, and that frequency writes the sequel. Millionaire subconscious. While you're brushing your teeth, crossing the street, or choosing dinner, an inner autopilot makes almost every money choice for you. That autopilot is the subconscious, a silent supercomputer programmed in childhood. By lines like money doesn't grow on trees or rich people are shady, the subconscious doesn't judge. It just executes old code to keep you safe, even if that safety means living paycheck to paycheck. That's why raises vanish overnight and windfalls magically summon new bills. The mind hunts evidence to confirm its default reality. Until you rewrite that software, any wealth tactic is like installing shiny apps on a virus-ridden phone. To reveal the code, grab a pen, a timer, and 5 minutes of brutal honesty. Write down 3 money phrases you heard growing up. Read each aloud and track your body. Tight gut, half smile, flat calm. The body never lies. It shows resistance hotspots. Pick the phrase that hits hardest and rewrite it, beginning with up. Until now I believed, and ending with, but I choose to see money as, fill the blank with a positive view, freedom, amplifier, ally. Repeat the new line 5 times a day for 21 days. You'll carve a fresh neural groove where thoughts of prosperity can glide instead of sliding back into the ruts of lack. Words alone aren't enough. The subconscious speaks images and feelings. Change your phone wallpaper to a snapshot of the life you're after: a boarding pass, a debt-free statement, a sunlit office. You unlock your phone about 150 times a day. Each unlock becomes a micro-class in abundance. Pair the image with a feeling trigger. When you see it, inhale. Imagine the smell, sound, and touch of that scene. The brain can't tell vivid imagination from reality. If you feel it, it files as already happened and plots ways to repeat it. Try the reverse expense log. Instead of tracking what you spent, note how each payment invests in you. The power bill lights the room where you learn, rent funds the lab where you create, groceries fuel the body that earns. Labeling expenses as allies flips the script from loss to circulation. When the mind accepts that every dollar has a mission, it happily recruits more dollars for the cause. But beware self-deception. If a hidden script says I'm unworthy, it will botch invoices, underprice offers, or forget to follow up. Counter that with the mirror drill. Look yourself in the eye for 60 seconds each morning and say, I deserve to prosper because I deliver real value. Corny? Maybe effective. Absolutely. Self-affirmation research shows lower cortisol and higher proactive behavior in weeks. You're training the limbic system that it's safe to succeed. Safety breeds bold pitches, confident pricing, and closed deals. When your subconscious finally allies with you, the world seems to conspire in your favor. Random invites align with your goals, clients stop haggling, even skeptical relatives ask your advice. That's proof the inner update stuck. Reality mirrors the dominant vibe. Just remember, software needs maintenance. Revisit phrases, images, and sensations whenever old glitches resurface. The mind loves shortcuts and may reload the vintage. Scarcity pack if you drift, heart, not calculator. Ever notice how a spreadsheet can scream great deal, yet something in your chest tightens at signing time? That something isn't superstition. It's cardiac intelligence flagging a mismatch. Research from HeartMath shows the heart's electromagnetic field dwarfs the brain's and steers hormones, cognition, even risk intuition. Ignore it, and you'll buy sleepless nights. No RO I can cover. Align head and heart, though, and your decisions broadcast a static-free signal to the world and to your bottom line. Enter the 5-5 coherence breath. Inhale through the nose for 5 counts. Exhale through the mouth for 5, 1 minute total. Picture golden light inflating your chest on the in-breath and worries shrinking on the out-breath. 60 seconds smooths heart rate variability, lowers cortisol, and flips the prefrontal cortex back online. Do it before clicking buy or hitting send wire, and you'll spot impulses wearing opportunity costumes. If your chest relaxes, proceed. If it knots, sleep on it. No return ever beats peace of mind. Make it a ritual. Paying bills Monday? Coherence first. Budget talk with your partner. 3 cycles before the meeting, the heart becomes a portable compass, rendering mile-long pros and cons lists obsolete. This habit once saved me from a can't-miss investment promising 30% returns. My sheet loved it. My heartbeat flinched. I passed. Months later, the firm cratered. Friends who went with the numbers lost everything. The heart wasn't scared. It was informed on frequencies the conscious brain missed. Coherence supercharges negotiation. A regulated nervous system calms voice tone, steadies gaze, and transmits unspoken confidence. Prospects feel safe and rarely lowball sales scripts. Work better on a grounded body than on tight vocal cords. Ever notice pushy sellers ooze desperation? That's incoherence. Meanwhile, the quiet pro who breathes easy often lands premium rates without extra slides. Bonus, a coherent heart entrains. Studies show people's heart rhythms sync during conversation, especially when one person radiates gratitude. In brainstorming rooms full of tension, being the calm anchor makes your ideas sticky. Clients solicit your opinion. Teammates rally behind plans. That charisma is measurable field physics, not mystical aura. Remember, coherence isn't never wobbling. It's quick rebound. Mad about late payment? 5 - 5 until anger softens, then craft the email. Got a rejection? Coherence first, strategy second. The emotional muscles strengthen. Money stops feeling like a roller coaster and becomes a high-speed train on solid rails. Derailments still happen, but you swap disaster headlines for minor schedule delays. Strategic generosity. Self-preservation says squeeze each dollar until things get better, yet money multiplies only in circulation. Generosity isn't reckless charity. It's a deliberate vacuum inviting fresh inflow. Allocate a sliver of income to benefit others and you declare, I operate from abundance, not scarcity. The subconscious drops its scarcity guard, and cash boomerangs from angles no budget could predict. Like breathing, capital needs full inhale and exhale. My turning point arrived when I earmarked 1% of every payment for education projects I loved, modest at first, yet non-negotiable. Income hits, 1% leaves. After 3 months, a funded program hit the local paper. The reporter hunted donors and invited me to a panel. That stage-birthed blog features that lured a corporate client paying 10 times my usual rate. Impossible to deny the chain, give, spotlight, contract. Strategic generosity is cosmic marketing, no ad spend required. Set up a generation funnel. Account before bills, move your chosen percent there. That sequence teaches the brain contribution is structural, not leftover. Next, pick causes that light you up. Scholarships, free ebooks, neighborhood food drives. Joy is key. Emotion cements the instruction. If giving still triggers fear, scale down until the nervous system feels safe, then inch upward. Skeptics argue donating without a fat emergency fund is irresponsible, yet the act sparks creativity precisely because it breaks the scarcity narrative. When the mind stops chanting every dollar is the last, the innovation cortex boots up. Suddenly you spot unserved niches, dormant contacts, higher value uses for existing skills. Positive emotion broadens behavioral repertoire. Psychology calls it the broaden and build effect. Translation, giving doesn't drain coffers. It expands them via fresh opportunities. Generosity isn't limited to cash. Share know-how in a live stream, write deep dive threads, mentor juniors for free. Each insight saves others time and banks invisible credit paid later in referrals, collaborations, or goodwill discounts, but share only what ignites you. Forced giving leaks resentment that cancels the magnetism. People feel the vibe behind the value. Track your returns with a coincidence journal. Log every invite, sale, or windfall within 90 days of each gift. Patterns emerge, sources vary, amounts fluctuate, but frequency mirrors consistency of giving. Evidence silences the logical brain when doubt creeps in. Soon generosity shifts from cost to growth lever, accelerating revenue and emotional well-being. Few highs rival watching your money fuel someone else's leap. The flow map, not the scarcity budget. Most people picture personal finance as a whiteboard of cutbacks. cancel every subscription, swap artisan bread for generic, kill the habit. That survival budget ends the month with a sigh of relief because nothing blew up, but it programs the brain to shrink, not create. A mental scissor snipping tiny joys becomes a hidden algorithm that blocks expansive ideas. You wake up asking, "What can I cut?" and go to bed too drained to ask, "What can I offer the market tomorrow?" The game flips when you color code money so the spotlight lands on what comes in and on what makes even more come in. Enter the flow map, open a blank spreadsheet and assign 3 colors: green for current income streams, blue for investments that expand income, gray for neutral costs, utilities, rent, basic transit. In the left column, list every green source: salary, freelance gigs, royalty checks. Middle column, seed blues, the course you could sell, equipment you could rent, that side skill itching to pay rent. Right column, park grays. Instantly the brain sees a poster where green and blue pop while gray fades. Neurology meets finance. What glows gets attention. What's dull stops hogging mental bandwidth. Refresh the map every Monday before any major spending. Ask, which green line can I fatten this week? Maybe upsell an existing client or reopen a dormant service. Then scan blues. Each idea earns a micro task. Upload lesson 1, post the rental blurb, schedule a workshop date. 20 focused minutes turn thought bubbles into revenue seeds and slays 2 beasts: procrastination that buries projects alive and discouragement that blooms when gray costs feel like a money vacuum. Remember, gray isn't evil. It's infrastructure. Twice a year, hold a gray inquisition. Does that barely opened software still deserve a subscription? Is the unused gym membership fighting for your vitality or just punching your wallet? If a neutral cost isn't feeding green or blue, downgrade or delete. Cinching gray breath is painless when you're busy watering color, not hacking at happy moments. Add a seed section: blue tinted ideas currently worth 0 but loaded with upside. When a seed sprouts, first inquiry, prototype finished, beta tester on board, promote its cell to royal blue. That tiny ceremony injects urgency without anxiety. Attention breeds growth almost on autopilot. After 3 months, many discover they don't need more hustle, just better spotlight placement. Feel tempted to return to the cut everything script? Set a rule: only slash after attempting to boost a green or blue. Cuts become last resort, not morning ritual. Builders stack bricks before swinging wrecking balls. When creation is king, the flow map itself exposes true fat, gray fluff or blues that died from neglect. Cutting then feels strategic, not sacrificial, and leaves more headspace for revenue plays. 90 days in, the flow map doubles as health check and growth roadmap. It answers, how much of my week feeds new money, and which costs could morph into income channels if reimagined? More vital, it replaces the suffocation narrative with visual excitement. Numbers stay the same. The story driving them changes, and story you've learned is the subconscious code that prints our financial reality. Daily micro moves of wealth, fortunes rarely spring from a single lucky punch. They're compounded from slivers of time repeated with fierce intention. Big gestures impress Instagram, but the brain and the universe reward steady, bite-sized consistency. Micro moves are 5-minute behaviors that embody the person who already owns the life you want. Tiny enough to dodge sabotage, meaningful enough to count. They're stealth deposits into an energy account whose interest rate borders on magic. The routine starts before your feet hit the floor. Eyes still shut, pick a crisp scene from your wealthy future: signing a global contract, paying the credit card in full, sipping espresso on a balcony in Lisbon. Activate senses, feel the pen glide, smell roasted beans, hear distant chatter. 2 minutes stamp a neural rehearsal. The brain releases dopamine as if the event happened, priming you to act like that version of you all day. Confident email tone, bolder pricing, relaxed posture. Immediately follow with an external micro move: a prospect DM, a paragraph of industry reading, a 60-second value clip, a quick portfolio. Prune, the task must be friction-proof yet progress-rich. Done daily, it wires desire action until excuses have nowhere to hide. After a month, you've stacked 30 tangible wins, each a vote for your richer identity. Midday, run the abundance touch. Whenever money arrives, tips, refunds, tiny royalties, swipe a thumb across the note or phone screen and muse, I receive, I thrive, I circulate. The tactile cue pairs gratitude with touch, accelerating memory consolidation. Neuroscience shows multisensory anchors beat willpower in habit formation. Soon, even coin-size inflows deliver a dopamine ping rivaling impulse buys minus the buyer's remorse. Nighttime, close the loop with one line in a wealth journal. Today I built prosperity by. Maybe mastered a spreadsheet trick, negotiated fairer terms, or sent a follow-up. While you sleep, the hippocampus files those wins, baking a self-image of someone productive, not just hopeful. Wake up inclined to repeat and upgrade the pattern.to. Dodge boredom, deploy 3-3-3. Every 3 weeks, change the visualization. Every 3 days, vary the micro move. Every 3 months, review and toast progress. Novelty light keeps neurons sparking without tipping into overwhelm. Should you miss a day, reboot the next sunrise. No shame. Votes tally over seasons, not slip-ups. By quarter's end, you loan roughly 90 rehearsals, 90 actions, 90 proofs of advance, a psychological bankroll tough to rattle. The math isn't linear. It's geometric. Each micro-triumph fuels the next, stitching an unbreakable identity of abundance that soon spills from mindset to bank statements. High-vibe money circles, ever hang with friends who count problems yet avoid app launch ideas and leave feeling heavy? Social neuroscience calls it co-regulation. Our nervous systems sync with the climate around us. Surround yourself with tax rants and economy is doomed memes, and your brain tunes to powerless FM. Share air with goal setters who celebrate tiny wins, and you subconsciously aim higher. This resonance explains why two equally skilled people accelerate differently. One is watered by ambitions, the other soaked in gloom. My pivot came at a low-budget marketing meetup. Skipping panels, I met 3 entrepreneurs earning 10 times my take-home, yet casually swapping failure stories. Botched funnels, lost deals, zero drama. Their comfort with missteps shattered my silent belief that big earners never flop. Months later, one needed a site overhaul. I pitched my newly upgraded value proposition and landed my fattest contract. Soon we formed a monthly metric share call, nudging my mental thermostat upward each session. Build your own high-vibe circle by mapping current contacts. Create 2 lists, names whose chats energize you and names that drain with crisis talk. No villain labels, just data on hormonal impact. Double down on coffees or Zooms with energizers. Trim, without guilt, time with the drain list, can't avoid. Negative coworkers. Lower exposure, change topics, pop earbuds, grab fresh air. Elevate the average vibe your system bathes in, and bold decisions follow. If local peers are scarce, go digital, join paid masterminds or niche Slack groups. The fee filters dabblers and glues you to engagement. Use the 70-20-10 rule, 70% listening, 20% giving practical help, 10% asking targeted questions. Contributors get remembered and referred. That's how I morphed from unknown to podcast co-host. Within a year, sharing scripts turned into an invite, which now funnels clients organically. Curate your online feed too. A doom scroll soaks the brain in cortisol, same as a dinner with pessimists. Follow accounts sharing case studies, behind-the-scenes fails, tactical threads. Instagram's close friends or X lists let you silo inspiration from casual memes, earning 5 spare minutes into mini workshops. Community amplifies, not substitutes. Personal responsibility, running next to faster athletes naturally lifts your pace. Miss a mastermind goal and you'll feel constructive discomfort, the fuel to recalibrate without self-shame. Months in, tasks that once felt mountainous, pricing, taxes, royalty talks shrink to trail bumps because you've seen peers summit larger peaks. Bounce back regulation, R3 protocol. Even the most frequency-savvy, micro-action disciplined, well-networked players stumble, markets swing, life intrudes. The winners aren't luckier. They just recover faster. Your brain dramatizes loss. The amygdala fires, cortisol spikes, and snap decisions pile fresh damage on the original hit. Enter our 3 Breathe, Reframe, Realign, a 24-hour crash kit that halts the panic spiral before it snowballs. Breathe for 3 full minutes, slow nasal inhales, longer mouth exhales. Heart rate variability evens out, oxygen returns to the prefrontal cortex, and the grab anything impulse fades. When a leveraged crypto trade cost me $15,000 overnight, this step kept me from revenge trading at dawn. Next, reframe the loss. Ask, what lesson is worth more than this price tag? Bullet point every insight, following influencer tips without due diligence, ignoring position sizing, whatever's true. File the list in a folder called Tuition Payments. Turning victimhood into research swaps shame for upgraded strategy. Then realign within 24 hours. Complete 1 micro action congruent with your wealthy identity. I sold idle camera gear for $2,000 and used it to buy a risk management mini course. Action closes the loop, telling the subconscious, I'm still the person who grows. Protect the process with 3 dedicated buckets. Security, 6 months of fixed costs, expansion, education, marketing, gear, and daring, max 5% of assets for high volatility bets. A hit can only dent the daring box, leaving sleep. Payroll and growth intact. Finish with hard gratitude. I'm grateful this $15,000 revealed my blind spot before it could cost $150,000. The brain stores lessons attached to emotion. Pairing pain with purpose stamps the memory without rerunning the stress chemistry. Master the R3 loop and the universe hands you bigger stakes because you've proven you can fall without torching. The runway, projects with fat price tags demand anti-fragility. So the next stumble. Breathe, reframe, realign, and use the ground as a trampoline. The journey rolls on. We've crossed the finish line of this episode, yet the track of prosperity keeps unfolding. You now know money isn't a tyrant or a lottery, it's a mirror reflecting every breath, choice, and conversation you host inside. The theory only crystallizes when your calendar and bank apps start matching the new narrative, so act today. Color your first flow map lines green and blue, send that 5-minute micro move, slide those courageous 10% into the generation funnel. Each act is a ballot cast for the abundant version of you, and ballots counted daily. Rewrite reality fast. If this session sparked fresh clarity, hit subscribe and ring the bell right now, locking your seat for the next deep dive, where we'll peel back additional layers of the wealth game and sharpen the tools you gained today. Bring your notes, your questions, and your early wins. They'll fuel the conversations ahead. Before you click away, drop in the comments a single word that captures your biggest takeaway: flow, courage, clarity, whatever lit you up. Your declaration stamps commitment and sparks community momentum. Thank you for lending your time, attention, and energy. Until the next video, keep tuning the frequency, running the micro moves, and letting abundance become your new normal.